Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Leadership with a Twist podcast. I'm your host, Heather McGonigal, here as always with my co host, Barbara Schindler. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Heather.
Hi. Today I was thinking, Barbara, about something that we've coached a lot about over the years. And to be quite honest with you, I was trying to recall if we've even talked about this yet on the Leadership with a Twist podcast. And we may have, but it is so important. And I think very grounding, centering, and I was feeling that as very important in these current times and sort of as, yeah, with everything that everyone is navigating these days. And so, what I wanted to talk about was leadership reputation.
Okay.
All right. And the reason why, so let me give a little context here, is the way I think about it is your leadership reputation, whatever it is, wherever you think it might be at this moment in time, it is something that you as an individual have control and dominion over. You can think about where it might be and where you want it to be. And you can take actions today and think, what is the environment I am creating for myself and my team in how I'm showing up? What is the energy I am bringing to this day, to this meeting, to these interactions? And what I like about being mindful about your leadership reputation and being intentional around it is it can be an anchor point in the storm. It can be a calm in the storm. You can pause at any moment in time and remind yourself of your intention, your commitment to your leadership reputation. You can pause, you can remind yourself of that, and you can shift how you're showing up. You can't change others, you can't change the larger environment, but you can go back to this anchor point for yourself, how you want to show up, who you are being.
Mm, yeah. As you were sharing, I was thinking back, and it's probably, I mean, we've been on this topic for years, right? Through our
Yes.
coaching and leadership training. And I think that originally I was always stumbling a little bit, like leader reputation, my leadership reputation, in some definitions feels like it's dependent on what other people are thinking,
Mm.
right? Like that interpretation of it. And that's not what we're talking about. And as this conversation and our working with business leaders and helping them develop into the mindset that you're describing. So I guess I just wanted to add that because
Yeah.
it really is the thing that you do have dominion over is how, as you said, how I show up, how I'm intentional. And I'm going to add to that, it's really a wonderful way to continue to develop your own self expression in your business role, in your business leadership by practicing that awareness
Mm.
and having those values and defining what does that mean if I have a value, if I want to be kind and caring about the humanness. I was in a call this morning and we were talking about that cold-hearted letting go that's happening a lot.
Mm.
you know, I mean, from
So
large
having to
corp,
let go team members.
yeah,
Yeah.
having like a large corporation, laying off 50 or 500 people with an email,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Hey, you're cut off
Not
of
even a
email,
meeting. Yeah.
not even a meeting, and that's the extreme, but it's real,
Yeah, it's
right? And
happening.
and
Yeah.
and the practice often of laying off somebody, letting somebody go from their job, and the structure that has been taught is like, okay, we're on the call. Now you don't have email, that like you are cut off. You don't say
Right.
goodbye to your friends and
How it
and
happens.
colleagues,
Yeah.
right? so how to do that? That's the conversation I was in today. Just how do you let people go with a more humane care of like, hey, you might, we're gonna, be letting you go, or
How do you do this with
downsizing.
heart versus the
Well,
extreme?
yeah, and doing it with consideration of that human person who has colleagues, or like,
Yeah.
like yes, that's the company's email, but like I've been owning that space for so long, let me say goodbye to my email inbox, whatever. Anyway, that piece, again, coming back to leadership reputation, being able to recognize in any of these situations how you show up is really the experience, not only to shape the experience that you have and want, the expression that leads into what your leadership reputation is defined as, not somebody else's interpretation of you.
Say more?
Well, the experience of my defining leadership reputation is my experience of being true to myself.
Yeah.
My experience of not being like after the fact being like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to say that. I think I gave them the wrong impression. That's not what I was thinking at all. Why did I say blah, 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 blah? Because I was nervous,
Yeah.
right? Type of thing. Like really that groundedness of knowing who I am, how I want to speak, how I want to show up, and, really wanting to hold true, again, true to myself in all situations is one of the biggest pieces. You need to understand yourself enough to even know what you're going for.
Yeah, and this is really an invitation, I like what you're saying too, Barbara, about leadership reputation and what you're raising. People could interpret it in a bunch of different ways. And
Oh,
we're talking about something we've taught over numerous years, and why it came forward for me to bring up at this particular time is the level of chaos and stress in the external environment. And I was feeling very particularly impacted by it in my life yesterday. And I thought,
hmm.
just as I navigated myself through that, like, what would I be coaching in support of other people, and how do I apply that for myself? And talking about leadership reputation came forward because it is that thing that you can go back to as an anchor. When I coach people for leadership reputation, over time we come up with one key sentence to define what is that leadership reputation that they're going for. It might be something like, I am a mentor that brings out the best in people that work with me. People feel like they get to develop it to their next level when they work with me, right? If it's a
Hmm.
sentence like that, that informs me even on the most stressful day in
Hmm.
how I'm going to be in my interactions with my team, right? So that becomes an anchor point. But then enter a highly stressful day with a chaotic external environment in the world, and leadership reputation also contains, how am I taking care of myself so I can show up really well. So I do want people to know also in this teaching that I'm not just trying to say, um, I don't know, that you have to be phony or fake or
Right.
false,
Override your experience of your
yeah,
true
false
experience.
positive or something,
Mhm.
and just be in this.
I am a happy person always.
Yes, it's not that, because it's also part of the reality of, like, if you were living in a really hard day, is like, as a leader, how do you pause and demonstrate that you're taking care of yourself and your well-being, right?
Right.
If
And
I,
and I
yeah,
was
go
going to
ahead.
say some of that taking care is, I want to go back to, I think it's so important, that key phrase, that key that catches the mindset of you understanding who you are, right? And it really, that getting to that place where like this is my anchor point, right?
Yeah,
So confidence is a really important piece. And when we're talking about leadership, it's not like, hey, I'm leading a team always. It's leading yourself to be
yeah,
your best self, and being empowered, right? To contribute fully from who you are. That's a leadership piece. And so this phrase, I was just thinking how it, recently was coaching a client, and she's very aware of who she is. She's very accomplished and very good at her role. At the same time, she can also become a target in that role, in such a central leadership role in a company. So on a weekday under stress and strain, and somebody's kind of letting out some of their emotions and directing
Mhm.
it like, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right, and she's like, but wait a minute, and then that's anchor sentence. Wait, I know who I am. I, it's like that moment of like, let me anchor now, let me be in this environment with the understanding of who I am. This isn't, about anything else but the circumstance around me. There's stress, there's strain, maybe something went wrong, maybe or not, right? But that anchor point is so important because you can still show up, as you said, not in a altered, phony way. We're looking for authenticity. And the truth is who you are and your intentions and the clarity of your values that you're expressing through who you are the things that we want to keep coming back to. And having that self exploration enough to be aware of that, the more you practice, the more you get to know who you are, and how that impacts the ways, it's like the ways you want to have the impact, right? It's like, oh, that's not quite what I'm going for. Maybe there's another way to express that. You know what I mean?
I was thinking as you were sharing, and in this current environment, I might even update my leadership reputation to be an intention of being a safe space and the calm in the storm for
Hmm.
myself and for others. Wait, I'm the safe space, I'm the calm in the storm. I'm a safe space, I'm the calm in the storm. I'm a safe space, I'm the calm in the storm. And so if I felt things escalating, whether it's coming from an outside communication or
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling my emotions escalate inside of myself, that I would remind myself, wait, no, I am my own safe space and I am a calm inside the storm. What do I need to do right now to restore the peace? What do I need to do right now to take care of myself? Yesterday, that was a choice on my lunch break to do the dog walk I normally do at the end of my workday. I did on my lunch break instead of my end of my workday. It was like
Mm-hmm.
today feels like the stress is higher and I'm going to do this earlier instead of later. And it really helped. It really helped. And, we have choices like that available to
Mm-hmm.
us. And I know
Totally.
we recently did a Leadership with a Twist podcast where we talked about my self care action plan teaching. So you can find that here on Substack if you would like. But that was like, yeah, I just found like I needed to check in with myself and bring the temperature down and calm. But so this teaching of leadership reputation is have an anchor point for yourself that's really, really strong. I think we need, maybe why I was called to bring this forward today is that I think with all of the chatter, be it crazy world events or the endless AI conversation or like, oh, this used to work in our industry, it's not working anymore, or whatever the case may be. Everything feels loud, sort of insistent. There's a lot of change. There might be a lot of different complaints. There's a lot of shifting and changing. It all feels like a lot. So I wanted to give people this anchor point of what is your leadership reputation you're going for? How do you define it? How do you see it? Because that's yours. Whether you're at this current company you're at, whether you're at a different company, that's yours. Whether your boss is having a bad day or a good day, that's yours no matter what, right? I just kept coming back to that's the thing you have full dominion over, who you choose to be in this moment, no matter what. And you've probably heard this same teaching from somebody else at some point in time, because I don't want to hold this as my full original teaching. This is one of those universal truths that we as individuals do have dominion only over ourselves at any moment in time. This is a universal truth. This is just another teaching, if it resonates with you, to give you access to that truth. That the world can feel chaotic, but what you have control over is you and who you want to be and how do you want to show up. So, in the world of entrepreneurial business, that you can have an anchor point of what is the leadership reputation I am going for.
Hmm. I'm really appreciating this conversation as I came in and was like, back when we were first talking about leadership reputation, I was like, hmm, like how do we help ourselves and everybody else get to the place to truly understand what this teaching is about? And what you just described is that. On a funny note, it's like my anchor point this year is, am I calm?
Mm,
And if I check in and am I calm, no matter what's going on, and then if not, maybe I take the dog for a walk.
yeah.
But it's kind of, what do I need to get to my calmness? Because
Yeah.
my reactivity isn't, the truth for me in how I want to show up to be in any circumstance. I want my best thinking. I want to show up with my values and my who I want to be in it, which again comes into the reputation. So I think, these current times, in so many levels, business, activities are often down. The job market is fluctuating in different ways. Businesses are getting different outcomes, and all the other external environment things that are happening nationally, globally. It's like amazing when you can have dominion over the fact that my calm self is still available and I can choose to be in touch with my calm self and relate rather than react. And bringing that to the table of noticing the key piece about leadership reputation is the impact and influence when you can bring that to more conscious intention. Because guess what? You're in a position of leadership in business. You are having an impact. You are influencing others. And let's take a moment and think about that, how this conscious awareness of my leadership reputation can bring me to have positive impact and influence in the ways I most want to.
And I think that one of the other key distinctions about who you are as a leader is what do you demonstrate? Because we
Mm,
can say a lot of things,
yes,
but what do you actually demonstrate? So I will take my example of going for a walk to the park on a stressful day. And I would say if you're in working in an in office environment, that's demonstrating to your team, hey, we mean it. Go take care of yourself. You
right.
should let people know, hey, I'm stepping out. I'm taking a walk. I'll be back. I'll be back in 20
I
minutes.
believe in the power of the pause.
Yeah, I'll be back in 30 minutes. See you all in 30 minutes. I'm stepping
Huh?
out. And that gives other people permission to do the same when they need to breathe. They don't have to do it at the exact same time or in the exact same way that you do, but you've just given them permission and made it a reality that in this company, when we say, please take care of yourself when you need to, we actually mean it. Because you know how I know? Heather walked out the door and did that when she needed to. So, demonstration of our values as a company matters, and demonstration through your leadership matters. If you're working in a virtual company, you need to make that walk visible to your team by putting it in Slack or your project manager, however you communicate as a team. You need to have a
Mm-hmm.
channel where you say, hey, I'm taking a self care break. I will be back in 30 minutes. I'm taking my little dog to the park. See y'all in a minute. Right? And all of this is really, really important. And I was thinking about, Barbara, how you talked about the cold hearted letting go that can happen through an email. And, you know, that probably was that kind of cold heartedness and cut off to care for the people in the company was probably breaking down long before the mass email layoff, right? So we need to be thinking and looking, what are we actually demonstrating, what's happening in the teamwork on the day to day, what's happening in the culture of the company. And
Hmm.
maybe you're in a company where you're seeing some signs where the people part and the culture is falling apart. If you're in a leadership position, start talking about it, start noticing it, start being like, what is this environment we're creating?
Hmm.
um, because leadership reputation is key to attracting and retaining the best talent. Companies would be foolish and to not know this and to not know that it makes a difference. It does make a difference when it comes time to hiring as well. There are visible ways that people can see online what the company's reputation is, what the environment is in the workplace, and it does matter. So I say all this to say though that like look at the environment, look at what we're participating in, and you might not be able to change the whole thing, but you can very much influence through how you're showing up what's going on in your area of the business. And you might not be on this particular team forever, but you might nurture some key relationships that you don't know where those people are going to end up and where you're going to end up. And they might be key relationships for the future of your career or their career in some other ways that you can't fathom in this moment in time. And you can just nurture all of that in a positive way while also taking care of yourself in your if you anchor in who am I in this and how do I most want to show up in
Hmm.
this
What do
moment.
I want to demonstrate? I like that phrase. I think we'll spend some time with that, Heather. That's very powerful to think
Yes.
about that. And what you're demonstrating can vary by your role. You might be demonstrating, my reputation is I get my things done. And then you move into management, and your reputation needs to be I empower others to get their things done. And you've
Yeah.
got to actually demonstrate
You
a
got to
different
shift.
way of being in your expertise, right? So I think there's a lot of pieces to play around with this. I
Yeah.
like that twist. I'm gonna
I
hang
know
on to that.
we'll
We'll talk
keep
about that again.
we'll continue this conversation. So Barbara and I invite you to share your questions with us. Any follow-up questions you have, please like and comment below. The Leadership with a Twist podcast on our page here. Let us know any follow-up questions you have. Also, let us know if you'd like any support. As always, there'll be a link where you can sign up for a discovery call or a coffee chat with Barbara or myself, where we help you apply this teaching to your unique scenario and help you get the support you need, because we love doing what we do and we love supporting and empowering leaders. So please take us up on that opportunity. And until the next episode, thank you very much, Barbara, for being here with me for this conversation. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Take care.